think it was RIA, and was bouncing that idea off you guys, and he supported me from the very beginning. So thank you very much.
Absolutely. You know that. Absolutely. All right, guys. Tom Conroy with Odorox Hydroxyl Group. How many people, number one, have heard of hydroxyls? I'm hoping the entire, that's good, good. Okay, so, and how many of you own the Odorox brand of hydroxyls? Not as many hands went up. I know Superior does. I'm sorry, Super.
Actually, like 6 of them being repaired today.
Is that right? Okay, good. Yeah, there you go. Should have brought them. All right, so hydroxyls, I've been with the company 10 years. I was a mortgage banker with this small little company, Lehman Brothers. And I'm sure everybody knows what happened to Lehman Brothers. I was a senior executive there, and when the 2008, the bubble burst, I decided, I said to my wife, I can't do this anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. I was doing it for 25 years. So I said, what am I going to do? So one of my best friends calls me up and says, hey, I just bought this distributorship for this product. It's called a hydroxyl generator. He goes, what are you doing right now? I said, well, have you read the papers lately? And I said, what do you got going on? So he explained it to me. So I went out and started consulting for him. Just kind of bringing in some telemarketers and salespeople, writing some scripting, and trying to call you all in the room. And they were trying to get this technology off the ground. And it was, at that time, a virgin technology. I mean, this industry really hadn't seen anything like it. It was ozone. I mean, that's what everybody used to deodorize. So we started getting some headway, and we took 20 machines, and our territory started out as part of Indiana, Illinois, Illinois, Ohio, and Kentucky. So we put 20 machines in this Escalade and drove up to Chicago. And I had prearranged meetings with the top 10 Chicago restoration companies. And we said, here's 2 machines, try them for 30 days. If they work, you keep them. We'll send you an invoice. If they don't work, we'll just come and get them. No big deal. So for 30 days, they used them. They billed them in Xactimate, $225 a day, put them on water, fire, sewage losses, and we sold all 20 machines. And from certain companies, they bought another 4 or 5. So we knew we had something, we just didn't know what. So for our intents and purposes, our businesses have been evolving over the last 10 years. And we started getting some calls about 2 years in saying, hey, I've got this fire and it's 20,000 square feet and it's a warehouse. What do I do? I said, I don't know. Well, what do you do? I said, okay, well, we know that our equipment will deodorize 12 to 1,500 square feet. So let's just back into this, divide it out by the 20,000, because we're not really concerned about cubic footage. We're more concerned about square footage when we're doing a large loss. And I'll get to that in a second. So we divided it out, put the machines on this particular loss, and it worked fantastic. So then we said to ourselves, wow, we've really got something here. And that's kind of where we've been evolving over these last 10 years. Selling, renting, and leasing the equipment. Now, our process is a lot different than anything else that's out there. Number one, it's the only patented hydroxyl technology in the market. Only one that's patented. Secondly, it's the only one that's scientifically confirmed to produce a hydroxyl molecule outside the machine. So think about that. Only one that is actually going to produce a molecule that's outside of the machine. Now there's others out there, and I'm sure you all know the Titan, and there's a couple others out there as well. We had all of them tested. Independent lab in Iowa. Sent them all off, and literally, when you put it on a loss with, or you put it in a room with a certain VOC that only reacts to hydroxyls. Ours was the only one that eliminated the VOC. It's called inheptane. So we can say with total confidence that we're the only one that scientifically produces a hydroxyl molecule that exits the machine. That's part of our patent. Okay. On large losses, the California wildfires. Anybody from California in here? No? Okay. The wildfires, whether we're in Colorado or California, I mean, we're renting thousands of machines for different buildings all throughout the wildfires, just this past year especially, because they were really, really bad this past year. Okay. Our process is very simple. If you look at this page here, okay, the air mover acts as a suction, and the draw side of the air mover takes the moisture that's in the air and draws it into our machine. We have 3 optics, glass optics, that are creating ultraviolet rays that are inside the machine. So what happens is, if you go back to your chemistry class in high school, H2O, water, goes across the ultraviolet rays and splits. You get a hydrogen and you get an OH hydroxyl. It's got 5 electrons. It has to go out and grab onto something. So it grabs onto, in the case of a fire, the carbon. And it molecularly destroys the carbon molecule and reverts back to water vapor. That's our process. It's very simple. The key is safe to breathe. You could be in the room with it while it's running. Your cruiser can be in the room with it. The little old lady with the cat who doesn't want to leave her house because she's been there 50 years and she doesn't care what you're doing, she's not leaving, can be in the room with it. Okay? So it's safe for people, pets, plants. On the content side, it's going to be safe for rubber, plastic, elastic, leather, vinyl, all things that break down when you over ozone them, like the rubber from a refrigerator. Will not have a problem with that. Any kind of content. ERS, Electronic Restoration Services, I'm sure you've probably heard of them. They're the largest electronics restorer in the entire country. Strictly use our technology and have been for 8 years. Every one of their offices has a minimum of 1 or 2 of our machines in their facilities, deodorizing the electronics that you all bring in and give to them to deodorize, okay, and clean. So, coding in Xactimate, CLN, DOD, HY with a greater than sign. That's the 3 optic machine. Theoretically, if I sold 1,000 machines today, 950 of them would be the XL3. A, just the most powerful commercial grade machine we make. B, $225 a day in Xactimate. You're making more money. The difference between the self-contained fan unit we have, which is the Boss unit, is $200 in price, but you get $180 a day in Xactimate. So you're going to make $40 more a day, $45 more a day. So the difference in price gets negated after 4 rentals, or 4 days in Xactimate. Okay? So on the large loss side, we've been at this for about 7 years now. And as we started getting calls, especially in the Midwest, from contractors, they were looking for a means to deodorize larger buildings. And so we decided, okay, let's put some hubs out there. So we have hubs in Southern and Northern California, in Portland, Oregon, Phoenix, Dallas and Houston, Indianapolis, Atlanta, Orlando, Richmond, Virginia, where I'm based out of, Philadelphia, New Jersey, and Boston. So if we get a call anywhere geographically in the country and you need 50, 60, 100 machines, we literally can get them there within hours. They rent it $100 a day and you're making $225. It's $125. The other thing about our technology, there's no labor involved. There's nothing you have to replace. There's no spraying. You just sit the piece of equipment down, turn the fan on, and start your cleaning process while it's deodorizing. And you start your tear down process, okay? So it can't be any simpler, and that's kind of like what our, lack of a better term, motto is for this year. Plug it in, let it run, and just let it do its job. And then you're going to demo, you're going to clean while the thing's running. Now, I know there's a lot of folks in the room here that have used us on large losses. I know Mark over here in the corner, we had an interesting loss with him a couple of years back in Milwaukee. The Brewer Stadium has a TGI Fridays in it. And the TGI Fridays had a fire. And so they're not going to cancel the baseball game because of a fire in a restaurant, even though it was smelling really bad. And then there were suites, correct, Mark, that ran off of where the restaurant is. So you got your high dollar people in the suites who want to sit and watch the baseball game, and TGI Fridays, 3 floors, had a fire. So Mark calls us up. We deliver them the machines in a couple of hours, and they start their cleaning process and their tear out process while, you know, the games are basically being played and the suites stay open. Business interruption, you know, Brad mentioned that earlier. Huge for us when you're talking to your adjusters. Okay, just huge. The ability to keep a building open, a business open, a warehouse, a factory, all of the above is huge. I'll leave you with one other loss, and it was actually in Madison, Wisconsin. 300,000 square foot government facility. It was the unemployment office for the whole state in Wisconsin. Has a fire. And somebody brilliantly decided, let's put the air conditioner on. That'll get the smoke out of the building. And all it did was take the smoke from one corner of the building, take it through all 3 floors. So we had 100,000 square feet on each floor. Okay? The consultant comes in, looks at the job, and they wanted to tear out all of the cubicles, millions and millions of dollars of cubicles. And Young and Associates gave us a phone call and said, hey, what do you think with your technology? And the DKI, local DKI was on that loss. And I said, we will guarantee the odor removal out of every one of those cubicles, so you're not going to have to replace them. So we set up 100 machines on each floor, ran them for 5 days per Young and Associates. We told them 4 days. They said no. Can you imagine a consultant telling you to no, to run it another day? 5 days, 300 machines, no smell. You could put your nose right in a chair, in a cubicle, no smell whatsoever. So it's going to penetrate the paper, the paint, right into the drywall, or whatever piece of furniture or content that you have.
I was there on that.
Yeah, and Tom McGuire was there on that one. He was. As a matter of fact, he was. Any questions? Questions?